Chainlink price update for Tuesday, September 2nd. We're around $23, consolidating just a bit here. We're going to start out on the 4-hour. Then we'll zoom out to the daily and check up on our 3-day golden cross and see where that's at and what we could be looking at in the days and weeks ahead. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up. If you want more help navigating the cycle, consider subscribing through our Patreon group. You get a lot extra educational content in there and, help every step of the way with daily stuff and updates from me. All right, here we go. 4-hour. We've tagged the EMA 200. We'd like for this to hold. Does it have to? No, we're only on the 4-hour. But if we take out this low again, and especially if we take out this 200 EMA, around 2240, we have looked at our lower zone here. This is probably going to get tagged. Much higher odds to get tagged than not if we close any lower and continue our downtrend, right? This is the odds. The trend is your friend, right? We are still in a clear downtrend. And if we break that, right, this is likely where we're going. Somewhere between $20, $21. That's a pretty good rough start. We'll look at that again as we get to the daily chart. But looking as we zoom in here, what do we want to be watching for? Well, to get into a uptrend by definition, you have to have a higher low and a higher high. They can be short-lasting trends. They can be long-lasting. So far, we're in a macro from the top, from our top here, right? Macro on the 4-hour chart, downtrend, right? High, lower highs, low, lower lows. But we want to watch for, potential reversals like we got back here, right? This was a potential reversal right here, right? We had a low, we had a high, higher low right there, and a higher high. So that downtrend from here, right? This one was gone. We started in a new uptrend. But then what did we do right after? We printed a lower low right there, and that broke that trend yet again. So that was a very short uptrend. But that's what we're looking for. We're looking for something to break this macro downtrend, whether that be short term or longer term. We don't know yet. And, as you get uptrend on the 4-hour, right, then you can zoom out to the daily and, check again. So where do we look for that uptrend? Well, just look for, the high close. Likely to. You can see some wicks there, right? Wicks past few days. Closes the past few days, right? Since the weekly close, really. So $24 seems to be a good spot. If we see the 4-hour chart start to gain above 424, then we've got some momentum. But that's still not enough, right? That would just get us a higher high. We would have to not only break this and establish a high somewhere over here. If we move back down, we'd also have to establish something higher low. It could be higher. It could be up here, right? I'm not predicting like what it's going to do. But that's what we're looking for. And we'd want to look for, right? Again, just like if you take just a bars pattern here and we just look for a copy paste, right? Something like this, right? You have a low, make a high, new higher low, higher high, right? Okay, trend broken. That's what we're looking for, between now and tomorrow when we do another update, right? We're doing daily Chainlink updates. And surprise, comment down below if you're watching this. I think we're going to do a live stream this afternoon. A pretty rare one. Maybe we'll start doing more regular of those. Comment down below if you want to see a live stream. We can do altcoin requests. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so higher high, higher low. That's what we're looking for Chainlink in the foreseeable future. Bitcoin looks to be maybe trying to hold the line. And if Bitcoin holds the line at its 21-week EMA, then there's reasonable case to think that maybe Chainlink, especially with this major moving average, could possibly hold this as a low. But let's zoom out on the daily and see if there's any more confluence we can look at. And on the daily, is there, as we're looking at this, the short answer is no. And quite the opposite, actually, because we've now breached this 21 EMA where we held support. And we're starting to flip it as resistance as of the past few days here, right? That's usually a sign of consolidation, to say the least. We're now crossing the MA8 below, right? When you start to cross up moving averages, you're likely looking at consolidation. right? Last time we crossed the 8 under the 14, right? The red under the purple. We were close to having a low, but just it takes some time to kind of build up the momentum again. So maybe we get that again. All right. If not, right, our low close here and our low close there. And we also have our 50-day EMA right here around that 21 level, 21 to 22. Perhaps we can get that to hold if we come down a little bit lower. Right? If we continue to hold the 21 EMA, that's a sign of weakness. And, you know, maybe we'll look back in hindsight and be able to say, well, we flipped there and now we just kind of consolidated in here for, you know, a couple weeks in September before kind of building back up again, right? Okay, we'll watch for that. The lows for September, Bitcoin could already be in, right? We have an established low on Bitcoin. We can just go check it real quick. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. Like as of yesterday, right? The first day of the month, right? We were right here bouncing off the 21-week EMA. The lows may very well have set on September 1st. Imagine that. Everyone's expecting red September, and lo and behold, Bitcoin's holding a pivotal point in the chart. So we're watching for this. We're watching for a rejection off of this low here, right? The EMA 8 on the weekly. 112.5, things start to go our way for Bitcoin and for obviously altcoins. All right, so let's pay attention to that. Get back to Chainlink. Going to the weekly chart for Chainlink now. If we continue to move down lower, right? We have a pretty big moving average, the EMA 8, which typically can hold in an uptrend. That's at 21.66 as of right now. That would be okay. That would kind of get us to that 4-hour swing lows. Those lows on that we started on the 4-hour chart, right? That's that area. And then also, right, if we've been watching any of these videos, we look at this W pattern that we've got forming. But let's look at this a little bit more in depth. Then we'll zoom into our 3-day chart here. If we look at this, how long did we spend here, right? We've been rhyming with this. W's tend to be pretty symmetrical, right? You see the move up, move down, move up, right? So if we take that measured move, how long did that take? Well, it's 30, 42 days, 30 to 4, nice round numbers. From like range highs here, again, range highs here to our high over this side. So we could be relatively expecting something similar. So if we do that, that takes us to the end of the month before we could possibly expect new highs. If we've been rhyming with it so far, why would we not rhyme with it again, right? And W's tend to do that. So between now and the end of the month might just be our rebuild, like something like this, right? We would expect to kind of mirror this, up and down, up and down, up and down. A lot of volatility for the rest of the month, but we could see some new highs towards the end of the month, maybe the final week of September or October, or again, it's still a rhyme, could still take us into, you know, maybe even 60 days, right? It could be mid-October before we see new highs. There would still be a rhyme with this, right? All right, so now let's go to our 3-day. Let's look at our golden death cross. We just got it, right? We've been anticipating this death. Let's remove all these other moving averages so you can see what we're looking at here. We got the death cross here, golden cross here. What does that mean? What happened last time? I'm glad you asked. We just got our 3-day golden cross. Been a while coming. A little bit of a fake out here. Cross down, cross up. We got close back here, back in last November, before we rallied pretty hard. But you can see as prices are kind of falling and consolidating, what we've talked about this whole video at the golden cross. Well, last time we got a golden cross, what did we do? Golden cross consolidating. This was about 2 months. Now, again, I don't anticipate that long. I don't think that's going to be quite that long, but that would still be maybe towards the end of October. Perhaps it does it again. But if we look at kind of these EMAs, look at what we did. We kind of tagged the EMA 8, back up again, back down again, up again, down, right? It's just kind of more or less sideways. That's why I put this little rectangle there. So if we take a copy paste of that, if we actually do it though, I think if I hold down the right button on the damn keyboard, let's do that again, and we kind of overlay that, right? Maybe something along these lines. Right here goes until this is Halloween right here, end of October. It could potentially do that and still be a loose rhyme with this. And maybe we don't, obviously we can go a little bit higher, lower, but a rhyme with that still seems like it's on the cards. Last golden cross, new golden cross. It would still kind of fit everything we've been expecting. So that's the golden cross update. We just got it on the 3-day. Right, last time we looked at it, right, on my golden cross video, was on the daily chart. Right, we can just look at that updates. Last golden cross there, we shot up a little bit more and then entered consolidation. Golden cross here, shot up a little bit more. Are we entering consolidation? Right? Still seems like it's doing expected things. They are who we thought they were. All right, that's kind of my update for today, for Tuesday. Get something back on here. Consolidation is the likelihood for a little bit longer, especially since we've breached this 21 and kind of holding it as resistance, right? That's kind of the Cliff's Notes version of that and where we are. $23 for Chainlink. Likely going to remain between, 25, 26, and maybe 20 for the rest of the month. But that's still some volatility, right? Imagine we go down to like 21, then bounce back 30% higher to 27, back down again. Buckle up, right? It's kind of a volatile, rocky, expected month, high side and low side. But then Valhalla awaits. Don't lose sight of the big picture here. All right, quote and card of the day. Opportunity is missed by most people because it is dressed in overalls and looks like work. Couldn't agree more. Here we go. Card of the day. How about the Huracan Spider? I mean, if you're going to get a Lambo, why not convertible? Unless, I guess, if you live in Alaska, that might be a bad choice. All right, a white. This wouldn't be my first pick, but it's what's here. It's what's here. Not really a fan of soft tops. I like hard tops better. As far as convertibles go. I mean, obviously I love convertibles. So I'm in Florida. It's always pretty warm here. I mean, even in the winter, might get down to 30 for a day or two. Everyone freaks out. It's 35 degrees. Everyone looks like they're from Alaska. Pretty funny. Pretty nice. Suede interior. Looks good. Only a few cows murdered for that. Whatever. Looks pretty nice. I've actually gotten to drive one of these on the racetrack. If you live in America, right, you can pay to race these. Anyone, as long as you have a driver's license, right? It's like a couple $100. You get maybe an hour, rip around the racetrack. You gotta have a lot of insurance though. That's definitely the first thing they check. If you crash, like even if I hit a cone, it was like $500 I had to pay extra per cone. But it was fun. I drove like this exact one, the Huracan. Actually, I drove the Huracan Evo, which is a little bit faster than this. Maybe I'll throw some pictures up at some point. It was really fun. All right. Enough of me ranting about Lambos. I'll see you on the next one, which is tomorrow. Live stream. Comment down below. Live stream. If you watch this part this long, you want to see it, are you going to be there? 3:00 p.m. Eastern time. I'm going to try to do that consistently when I stream. Try to stick to that time. That works well for me. Something I can stick to. That's 3 hours from now. 3 Eastern time. Do it for about an hour. See how many people are there. Hopefully I see you there. Hopefully you see me there. I won't see anything. Talk to myself.